Today's question comes from Kirk in Virginia. Kirk says, my wife says we can... that's not really a complete sentence. My wife says we feel we can enjoy things in life, such as taking our son to Disney World, because she knows... My wife says we can't enjoy things in life, such as taking our son to Disney World, because she knows I'll be grumpy about it later or bring up how much money it costs. We're on baby step 3 and have no debt except for mortgage and about $60,000 in savings. How do I try and not be so anxious about spending the money we have? I hate seeing the number disappear from our accounts, but don't want my life to feel like we can't enjoy milestones. Dave, can I tell you something? I struggle with this too. I wrestle with this. Man, I had a hard conversation with my son recently about this same thing. You've been working with couples for 30 years, man. What have you seen when it comes to this?
Well, I mean,
it's living in scarcity. But
it's a saver mentality, not a spender mentality.
Yeah.
He enjoys saving money more than he enjoys spending it.
Yeah.
And the spender enjoys the experience, enjoys spending it more than they enjoy saving it.
Yeah.
And a balanced, mature approach is that we have the ability to do both and get joy from them, but we just know our default, our natural tendency is to move towards one or the other. I'm a spender.
Yeah.
So by nature, it's not hard for me to move, even today, to enjoy money. But the only way I enjoy money now is knowing that I've done my work over here. It's like I had to, I had to get my homework done before I could go out to play,
Gotcha.
kind of thing. And but in the old days, I just went out to play, and the homework didn't get done. That's called immaturity. Right. And so you spend money, you don't have anything saved. So then the opposite of that is this person who's a little bit more scarcity. Savers generally are more scarcity versus abundance. Spenders have a tendency to be more abundance versus scarcity. It's not always true, but it's pretty much. Rachel's book, Know Yourself, Know Your Money, she goes into a lot of this stuff.
Yeah.
But I mean, for me, I think you just saying it out loud right there is a big thing.
It's huge.
That kind of starts to set you free, and you go, okay, why is it I'm saving money?
There you go.
Is it only for security? No. Your intellect will tell you that's not the only reason. Mm-hmm. Now, your emotions might tell you that's the only reason. But I'm saving money so that.
Yeah, it comes down to the so that's for what?
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, and we all know in our intellect, some of us are more emotional about it than others, but we all know in our intellect that that 4-year-old, when you blink, they'll be 14. So you better do Disney while you can.
Yeah.
You don't get a second go-round on that puppy because you can. Now, you don't get to go use that same line as an excuse to go into credit card debt to go to Disney because you're broke and you're out of control. No, you owe that kid stability at home, so you got to do your work first. You do your homework before you go out to play. Right. But now you got your homework done.
Yeah.
Don't sit there and read a book. Go out and play. And so you've got to force yourself to do that. And part of it is if you look at the money and you say the money that's left after we do this is more than enough, we're fine.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the facts or your friends, almost your trauma stuff where you guys deal with trauma and you say, well, I'm afraid the emotions are making the decision and facts are my friends. I got plenty of money.
I got money. Yeah.
So I can do both and I'm okay.
Yeah.
Notify yourself that you're okay.
James Clear writes about changing habits and I love the way he framed it. I've never heard it framed this way, which is if you want to change your habits, the best way to do that long term is to change your identity first. And this is an identity call out that his wife makes here, that it's almost not worth doing things as a family because of who you're going to be later.
Yeah.
And as a dad, this rings true. My wife calls it Sunday afternoon dad. She's like, it just kind of becomes, everybody just back up a little bit because dad's he's tired from getting up at church and he's ready for work tomorrow. I don't want to be that. I want to be like, I would rather my kids when they're 18 remember Sunday afternoons were such chaos and fun and we never knew what was going to happen because dad was bonkers versus you don't get around dad. So this to me starts with, I don't want to be known as the grumpy dad every time we did something joyful.
With money.
Because
that says to my kids, I value the money more than I do time with them.
That's right. And I think
if I'm pouting about it.
if I'm pouting about it, if I'm being ugly about it, if I am rolling my eyes that my wife and kids want to have joy in their life. And so I think I want to say, okay, I'm going to be the dad who loves spending time with my family, and let's reverse engineer that. What's the money going to be that it's going to take for us to go on these vacations and feel safe?
Yeah,
I love that.
Here's the thing you do for people you love, your kids, your spouse. Sometimes you do stuff they want to do.
A lot of times you do. Yes.
And you're not a twerp about it.
Yes.
You
Find
know? It's
joy
like-
in them having joy.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff. I mean, I like people, but I don't like social settings at all.
Right.
At all. But my wife completely eats that stuff with a spoon. But this idea of standing around with a drink in your hand and you go, what do you do? Shoot me. Oh, God. I just would rather be in the
hot
basement. I'd
outside,
rather
huh?
be in the basement, you know, reorganizing the dirt. I mean, something. God almighty. But you know, so, but I had to make a conscious decision to not be in constant eye roll mode and just go, this is something gives her life.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to go and not steal her joy every time we go to a party. And then in return, I found out I don't have to go to all the parties too.
Right.
I get payback for it, but I didn't even know that was coming. But yeah, I had to make that decision relationally.
Yeah.
And I still kind of, as you can tell, frequently have to remake that decision. But
when you get a new Corvette, I bet you say, sure, and you'll go for a ride. And she goes, sure, Dave, I'd love to. You know what I mean? And she grits her teeth through the ride. You know what I mean? I think that's part of being a great husband, a great spouse, a great parent is leaning in, and part of the joy being, Hank and I went hunting this weekend. I would have had a better outcome had I been not with a 10-year-old in the woods or an 11-year-old.
Because they're known for how quiet they are.
How quiet they are. But I wouldn't have traded that weekend for anything.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
We'll talk about this weekend. It was pretty chaotic. We'll talk about that for the rest of our lives. And so it's making those types of trades. And in this situation, Kirk, you got the money, brother?
The good news about Kirk is he's so self-aware.
Oh, yeah. He asked the
wrote
question.
This. His wife didn't write this. He wrote it.
Yes.
Great man.
Start with identity. I want to be a dad who loves being with my kids and my wife, and I love having fun with them.
Yeah.
Now, what does that look? What do I have to do to make that identity happen?
And I'm going to allocate a portion of the money that I know is going to make me a little bit uncomfortable, and I'm going to overcome that discomfort to still have joy.
Love it.